This week we're finishing Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones, otherwise known as Wizard Turds.
Hi readers, I'm Jordan.
And I'm Katie.
And welcome to Not Another Heroine Season 2, the podcast where we break down the best and worst fictional heroines of any genre. Because that's what we do now.
Want to see what's next on our TBR list? Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Instagram for a sneak peek at upcoming content or to help us pick our next book.
We are back with Howl's Moving Castle.
Part 2. Pachoo, pachoo, bow, bow, bow.
I had no response for that.
That's fair. I didn't need one.
I appreciate your attempt to be energetic. Because I don't know, maybe our readers can sympathize with this feeling, is that we both really enjoyed this book. We can acknowledge and recognize how good it is.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something about talking about it that's just, it's really killing us.
I kind of wonder if that's why, like, reading hasn't been as big as I feel like it is nowadays. Because it's like sometimes talking about these books is just, like, exhausting. Because it's like you can't talk about the plot without talking about, like, having to explain
every little detail.
Yeah, the sisters changed places and they're secretly dating other people, but they're not. And then there's a curse and there's like 80 other curses and they're all intertwined.
But see, I wonder if we're not quite reading what we like to read. Like, we both prefer to have more romance in our books.
That is true. We do fiend for the romance.
We are weak souls.
Yeah, that's fair. Because The Winter's Curse, we could probably talk about, that could be like a PhD thesis. Oh, you're like hunting down every like word in it.
This book does not have romantic tension.
No.
That's what it's missing.
Wow. Yeah. There's no tension at all.
Whatsoever. There's no competition. There's no will they, won't they. It is just them existing together until they decide, yep, happily ever after. Curse is broken.
I think the end scene is just they like look happily at each other.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, not even like a kiss. Like,
and there's plenty of YA books in this era that have that tension.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. I wonder if she went about it not meaning it to be a romance and then it just kind of like happened.
But that's what's interesting, because like I'm looking, readers, at the hard copy, and the description, one of the quotes on the back is, Jones has outdone herself in this frolicking, warm-hearted fantasy, thoroughly enjoyable, a wonderful blend of humor, magic, and romance.
There ain't no romance.
There ain't no romance.
It's like a recipe without a little bit, like, it has salt in it, but it's like you need an extra couple tablespoons. Like,
yeah,
I said tablespoons too, not teaspoons.
I know.
It's like there's flavor, but like, yeah, it's good though. That's what's hard to convey. Is like I thoroughly enjoyed this, and it was cute, and it reminds me of like a hazy summer day in August. But it's also like, damn, dude, I'm like tired of talking about this book.
All that to say is we might be skimming part 2 just a little bit.
Yeah, which is dangerous because you're probably going to be as confused as I was by the events of the end of this book.
And if you're a younger reader, you're going to have no idea what actually happens.
No, especially if you haven't seen the movie as like a slight, reference point.
Honestly, I would recommend watching the movie before you read the book.
Yeah, because I think it kind of generates the like love that you need almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We are procrastinating as we are recording right now.
I feel like the readers are like, are we going to talk about this book or not? Okay. So Howl is freaking out because he's going to be appointed as the royal magician, wizard, whatever it's called.
Yes.
He comes up with this half-brained, half-assed plan that he will have Sophie pretend to be his mother and go to the king to blacken his name so that the king will be like, I'm not going to appoint this, hobo as my royal magician. And so obviously he recognizes that Sophie is a little bit shy,
sheltered.
Yeah, little mouse. And so he's like, we are going to practice on Miss Pentstemon, which is his teacher,
mentor?
Right?
Yeah.
Mentor. Yeah, and she is the most stately woman that Sophie has ever met. And so she dresses up in this nice outfit that Howl got her, and she goes to visit Miss Pentstemon, and she's like, wow, this is the most like stately, statuesque woman I have ever met. I'm very intimidated. But basically she's like, yeah, Howl,
sure, you're Howl's mother, wink. That's a nice curse you got going on right there.
Yeah, and I don't even know, like, the summation of their conversation, but basically Miss Penstemon's like, hey, you have like magic powers and you can like talk life into things. And Sophie's like, what?
Cool, bro.
Anyway,
I'm gonna leave now.
And then she does, and like that's the culmination of it. And then she goes to visit the king and she has to climb a bunch of stairs and she's like sweaty. And she proceeds to talk about all of Howl's faults. And the king is like, okay, listening, cool. I'm going to appoint him anyway, because if he was trying this hard to get out of it, he's going to do wonders when I assign him to do something. And Sophie feels bad because she kind of fucked it up a little bit.
Just a little bit. This is where the movie very much like diverts. So in the movie, Sophie goes to see the wizard Suleiman, which is this stately woman surrounded by very creepy, like blonde page boys.
Yeah, did not like the page boys.
Okay.
I liked the observatory thing that she's sitting in, though. That's a vibe.
That was very cool. And so they've kind of merged the character of Mrs. Penstemon with the wizard Suleiman and created this like more thorough, fleshed out hybrid character who's the actual semi-villain of the movie.
Yeah.
So,
which I would almost prefer in the book.
Yeah, it's a bit more simplistic, but I think it's a better plot.
Yeah.
Because so the wizard Suleiman is this old woman who also happens to be Howl's mentor. And so Sophie goes to meet with her. And as she's talking to the wizard Suleiman, she's like, okay, well, this is a little shady, but we still need Howl here. And then Howl in disguise, like in like a pilot's disguise.
He's, disguised as the king having just come back from like a flight.
Yeah.
He's like, the war is stupid. We've won. To send all the troops home. I'm going to walk away. And she's like, yes, my lord. You're feeling very voracious today, my lord. Anyways.
And then the real king walks into the room. He's like, I have 1,000 troops. Let's go squash some bugs or something like that.
And Sophie's like, oh my fucking God.
Howl, you idiot.
The comedy in that scene, it's not overt, it's not over the top, but it's like seeping out of the seams. Like, I love everything about that scene. And also like how like calm, cool, collected cucumber Miss Suleiman is. She's just like, of course. Obviously, I knew that that's not the actual king.
Well, one little detail that they also kept is that all those page boys that are surrounding like Suleiman in the movie, those are the page boys that the Witch of the Waste has in the book.
Oh.
That's what I mean. Like whoever designed and like Hayao Miyazaki, right?
Yeah.
Like and his team, like they took very specific fine-tooth details from the book where they could work it in.
Yeah.
And so it's not like that they deliberately went off the script. They did what they could with what they were given and then tried to like preserve the soul of the book.
Yeah. It feels like those like vintage clothing rework people. They have like Instagram reels all the time where they take something and they like upgrade it slightly and it's just like give it new life, but it is amazing. That's how it feels. It's like just like a slightly updated, like coalesced, simplified version, but it's like has the soul of the original.
Well, and in the movie too, they end the main plot line with the Witch of the Waste, like pretty much halfway through.
Oh yeah, they do. Because she comes to visit the castle too, and then
they melt her.
Yeah, she just got like yeeted.
They remove her like spells that make her look good.
Yeah, and then she's just kind of like
she's rolled in on like a Home Depot trolley.
They're like, here you go, here she is. And it's like, wait, what?
She's like a senile old woman who's like sucking on a lollipop or something. Yeah.
I just love the fact that Sophie's like, oh God, like hop in, like, and you're coming with me, I guess. I'm just adopting people.
Well, because they escape out of like the atrium kind of thing. And like it's the dog, the old Witch of the Waste, Sophie and Howl on a little tiny helicopter.
And then he like disappears into another helicopter and Sophie's like, I don't know how to drive this. And he's like, you'll figure it out. Good luck. I would die. There's no way. I can't think on my feet that fast like that. Like, absolutely not. We're crashing.
It would have been fine.
I don't think so.
So Howl gave Sophie a magic ring right before she set off to meet the king in the movie. And if that wasn't like a little heart-fluttering moment where he like grabs her hand and slides the ring on it and that's the ring that leads her home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very crown jewel coded.
Yes.
I love it.
But back to the more thorough, detail-oriented book.
Yeah, it's fine. I've never been one of those like the movie.
I know.
But here we are. It's fine. Okay, so this will be slightly confusing. Okay, so Sophie visits the king. The king appoints him anyway. The witch randomly has killed Miss Pentstemon like an hour after Sophie met her. That doesn't really become important ever.
At all.
But what's more confusing? So she's back at the castle, and all of a sudden there's a knocking at the door. They open it. It's a giant dog. The dog comes into the house, and they're like, what the fuck is wrong with this dog? And then all of a sudden he starts shaking, and then he turns into a man. And apparently this man says that Letty asked him as the dog to watch over Sophie because because Letty knows that Sophie was cursed. And then he turns back into a dog.
He can only like change shape randomly.
And then he turns into like a different dog.
Yeah, every time he like goes to human, goes back to dog, it's a different dog.
Yeah.
And then he also tells Sophie that he was the dog that she rescued in the very beginning of the book.
Oh, yeah, he was. But in like a different dog form or something.
Yes.
Yeah. So just hold on to that in your pocket. There is a dog man person. Anyways, they get back to the house again. The witch apparently knows where the castle is. And so Hal is like, yeet, we need to pick up and move somewhere else. And so they devise this kind of crazy plan to like transport through reality, however they do it, the castle. They are going to buy the hat shop and they're going to sell flowers instead. So one of the doors is the hat shop, flower shop. One door is like this big, beautiful, walking through. Oh
yes.
my God. It's all beautiful, lush flowers and they're all like weird looking and like birds. Anyways, another is a rundown mansion. And then Wales obviously is still the like black door. That's really all that happens during that part. They decide to sell flowers and it like goes better than they were expecting and it's easy. The scenes, okay, so of them like walking through the like flower meadows early in the morning and they hear the birds like, singing, talking and fluttering through all the leaves and they like look through all the different flowers. Girl, a vibe. Oh my God. Oh,
the imagery in this book is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like just the descriptions you get, you want to be there. This section of the book is vital for Sophie's growth, I think, as a character, because it's in this section that she learns that her stepmother ended up remarrying like a super wealthy man. She got one of the magical hats and hooked up with someone, and so sold the hat shop. And so they moved into the exact same hat shop that Sophie was working in. And she did not want to do hats again, but she has the same skill with flowers that she has with hats.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's an interesting line in the book, I'm pretty sure, where Sophie's kind of upset that she like went through all of this struggle. She got cursed, but she's like already back where she started. Woof, man. I feel that.
She has like a crisis of self at this point. Like she has the weed killer moment where she just goes and like dumps weed killer on a bunch of shit around the mansion.
Yep. Also feel that, a meltdown girly, having a little mentee bee.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Katie.
Yeah. But also, I feel like it's hinted at in the book, and it's only after you get to the end that you realize why. But she's like getting progressively more unhappy because during all of this, during the day, Howl will sometimes help in the flower shop selling flowers, but most of the time he's going to Wales to go talk to Miss Angorian. And so Sophie's like feeling some kind of way about it, but she like can't really understand why. And she's like, I'm just unhappy. And it kind of like comes to a head. There might be something that happens in between this, but she kind of like decides that she's going to like leave. And she makes this decision like 3 or 4 times. She's like, I'm unhappy. I'm going to like go somewhere else and
fuck Calcifer. Fuck Howl. I'm over it.
I'm not dealing with this anymore. And it's just kind of like sad. Like you get it, like you're kind of unhappy, and then the guy you like is that you don't know you like, but you do like is off courting some other girl. Like I feel like that's a very like realistic feeling.
Sophie is the ultimate downtrodden character.
Yeah the downtrodden. Interesting.
So after they move the castle and like are resettled in this flower shop and everything is going on, they are like in the midst of Sophie's like crisis and she's angry at everyone and at the world. Yes, 100%. She like shouts at Howl that, well, that's a cursed dog. Like he used to be a man. And Howl was like, you didn't tell me?
Oh, I forgot that he didn't know.
Yeah, and I was like, why couldn't you tell me this? Like, this poor guy has been trapped as a dog. You've just been letting him hang out here. I'm a fucking wizard.
Because I like that Michael and Calcifer also knew and nobody mentioned it. They're like, yeah, this is like our dog man.
Yeah, so Howl fixes the dog, and it turns into this guy named Percival, who has no memory, really, of anything.
Percival.
Percival?
Oh my God. I loved everything. That was so cute.
I swear,
I only know it from Harry Potter, so I mean, like, who am I to judge?
Percival. I know I have heard the name, but every time I see it written, it's in my head as Percival.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I quit.
That's fair. Percival.
You know, we've made strides from season 1 in our numerous name mishaps and word mishaps, and then it just rears its little head.
Yep.
Every so often.
But it's so delightful when it happens. I feel a little like, silly us. Because I had one really bad. Cerulean?
Yes.
Oh,
I don't remember how you said it.
Cerulean. Because that's what I was going to say first. And then I stopped myself. I'm like, that's not right. Oh, God.
Okay, person.
The dog man. Michael has been convinced that Dog Man is the missing Prince Justin, and the Dog Man doesn't remember anything, and he's like, I don't really like think that I'm like a missing prince. And Hal's like, no, like something's like not quite right. Like, I get what you're saying, but like maybe not.
And then, do you remember the weird skull?
Yes.
So that's important. Because there's weirdness going on with the skull and with Percival, and like just an aura. Something's about to happen.
Because every time the dog gets near the skull like freaks out and starts like chattering. I don't love that. It's like
it's a little creepy, a little gothic once we get into here. And then we find out that Howl and Calcifer have known that Sophie has been cursed the entire time.
Yeah. Like, again, that would be good information to know, man.
And Sophie's pissed off.
Yeah, that's fair.
This is her like final trigger, I think.
Because I think at that point she really does decide to leave. Like, she makes plans to the following day, but then all of a sudden, like, it's Midsummer Day, which is Michael's birthday too, but all of a sudden her whole family starts showing up indeterminately, and they're like, hey, we just came to visit. And she's like, okay, well, I was trying to leave today, so if you guys could like politely fuck off, but like that's fine. And so we have this big old like family reunion almost, and they're like, oh my God, Sophie, I didn't know that was you, but like I also kind of knew that you were cursed, and then like I got remarried. That's the stepmom.
Yep. And then Miss Angorian shows up.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm looking for Howl. Howl's not here. We thought he was with you. And Miss Angorian starts like sniffing around like the castle.
Yeah. She's like Snoopy in a not like a very unsettling, unpleasant, like off-putting way.
I love the description of Sophie trying to interact with Miss Angorian, because she's like, I know I have to be nice to her. I have to be polite. But it's like a war within herself. She's like, this fucking bitch. But she's like, I have to invite her in and give her tea and show her around. And so it's like Sophie like cringily like trying to host Miss Angorian. I've never felt more for a character than I did for Sophie in that moment.
Yep. Because also there's the whole underlying thing that there's like a jealousy aspect to it too. So like not only do you not like them as a person, but you're also jealous of them. Like that's a hard, pill to swallow.
Yeah.
It's like, let me just put on my nice clothes and host you, you salty bitch. But yeah, because then she opens one of the doors and immediately is like, oh, wow. I don't love, she's immediately described as like throatily talking about things. It was very obvious in the audiobook that like something about her voice that just feels very like yucky.
Yeah, like deliberately
over the top. I don't know. Yeah. But she goes outside and she's like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. That's what it sounds like. Okay, girl, that's what you got. That is exactly how it's described.
That just killed me.
It hurt my soul to listen to those parts. That's why I have beef with Miss Angorian too.
That was the best impression of a throatily tone.
Yes. So Miss Angorian is off
Readers,
doing whatever.
Katie is doing a chicken impression at the moment. She's got her. She's flapping now. Oh my gosh, we will make it through.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. So Miss Angorian's doing whatever in this flower garden.
Clucking along.
Enjoying herself. And then I feel like I don't really understand the events that happen after this because it's like thing after thing after thing that kind of like culminates the plot like really quickly.
Calcifer announces to the room that the Witch of the Waste has found Howl's family in Wales.
Yeah, because everybody's vibing and then it's like a vibe killer.
Yes. And so Howl runs off to go save his family in Wales. And then the minute he leaves, or like shortly thereafter, there's like another message, like the Witch of the Waste voice, like
Oh, yeah.
permeates the room and says, I have Miss Angorian here. Like, I will kill her. And so Sophie, feeling like, oh, I have to save this girl because it's Howl's latest love interest. So she runs off because she doesn't want to let Miss Angorian die to go save Miss Angorian. She gets to the Witch of the Waste using the 7-link boots and tries to save Miss Angorian, except there's no Miss Angorian at all.
Ha ha ha.
Got you.
It feels so like juvenile.
It is very juvenile. But
like, no, like proof of life.
So Sophie's there with the Witch of the Waste, and the Witch of the Waste is like, ha, I found like Howl's vulnerability, which clue to Sophie, like, hey, you're the one that he's interested in.
She's like, I'm ugly and old.
And then Howl swoops into the room and rescues Sophie. Kind of.
Yeah. And then like the dog like starts fighting too. Or is that later?
I don't know.
Oh, somebody starts fighting.
Well, the Witch of the Waste like collapses once Howl shows up
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, and then there's some other part about Wizard Solomon and Prince Justin. Like, she was like creating like the perfect husband.
Yeah.
And she was like taking parts of all
Creepy.
three. Yeah, don't love that.
Yeah. So she had murdered them and like swapped body parts.
Yeah. And then you realize that the scarecrow guy has like a part of some of them, but then like not all of them. And then like Howl was going to be the head on this creepy little like Frankenstein monster guy. Yep. Ew. But then she died, so she couldn't.
And then it's an incomplete, like, headless body just hanging out.
Yep. And then sometime during the, like, when Howl goes back to...
They realize that Miss Angorian is the real threat because Miss Angorian is the fire demon that the Witch of the Waste made a deal with.
Yeah.
And the fire demon, Miss Angorian, is the one who's been running the show the whole time.
Yeah.
So the Witch of the Waste is dead. Yeah.
Because it does feel like it's a lot thrown together really fast at the end, where it's like, I'm kind of keeping up, but also like, what?
So I think the fire demon, Miss Angorian, went back to grab Calcifer. So she like left a piece of herself in the castle. And so by the time Howl and Sophie return to the castle, Miss Angorian has Calcifer and is like squeezing the literal life out of him. And Calcifer's like physical representation is Howl's heart, which he exchanged with Calcifer for powers. Which is the same deal that the Witch of the Waste made with her fire demon.
But it is talked about that she's had this deal for longer than Howl has, and it's like widely believed that the fire demon has like taken over her body.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's kind of what happened. And so they're all concerned that Calcifer and Howl will end up like those two. And fire demons are actually falling stars.
Yes. Which the part of the movie I didn't love was the whole like time bending, time travel wormhole thing.
Yeah. So like in the movie, the plot is completely like different at this point.
Yeah.
But Sophie goes through like what you just described, like a wormhole, and views Howl's past. So when Howl was a child, he rescued a falling star, Calcifer, and then exchanged his heart.
Yeah. And then she's like, oh, that's why. Because they do have the scene, she's like, Howl, like, come find me in the future. But then at the very beginning of the movie, he's like, there you are. Which has to be what Akatar pulled from for the like, oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God.
Yeah. All it took was hearing Christian Bale say it in his like sultry tones. And I was like, oh shit, that's where Akhtar Rice, came from. That checks out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Diana Wynne.
So yeah. And then it's happy ever after.
Yeah. I guess. So Sophie, basically uses her walking stick, which is now a magic wand, to beat the literal shit out of Miss Angorian.
Yeah.
She rescues Calcifer,
Yeah.
puts the heart back in Howl's body.
Yeah.
Howl comes back to life because he had fainted.
Yeah.
And then Calcifer's free. Like the genie in the lamp from Aladdin.
Yeah.
In the movie, though, there is like a, what do they call them? When you firebomb a city.
Oh.
It's very World War One.
Yeah, like Blitzkrieg or something.
Yeah, they're just dropping torpedoes over bombs, I don't know, over the city. And so at this point in the movie, Howl is running off to save the city and like fight all of the like steampunky airships, battleships and stuff. And Sophie and Calcifer and Michael are all in the shop trying to like survive. And so Howl like rides a torpedo down to the ground.
Yeah.
And he and Sophie have this like sweet hug, like, I'm always here for you kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
because he's in like bird form and she's like, come back to me.
Yeah, Howl's curse in the movie is like he's a grotesque crow creature.
Yeah.
It's weird. But I was... Okay, I have to explain this scene because I was watching the movie this morning and they have these like airships.
Yeah.
Old school airships. And they make a very light mention that all of the wizards of the country are, working for the king now.
Mm-hmm.
But they manifest as these little like flying black turds.
It does look like that. It does.
But what got me is that when they released the wizards, from the steamship in the air, it's literally the ass of the steamship squirting out evil wizard turds. And like I could not. Like I watched this movie, they really did that. There's no way that was like unintentional.
That did happen. That's a real scene in that movie. Wow, I forgot about that. Because it's very unsettling to watch.
Because they're just grayish black blobs with
Pellets.
Wings and a mouth. There's no...
Yep. That... Nope.
Pew,
yep.
pew,
You're...
pew.
Yep. You're onto something that's very unsettling and gross. God.
This is a weird story.
Oh, yeah. I feel like towards the end of both the movie and the book, it kind of has... undercurrents of Rosamund Hodges' just fever dream. Like,
yes, Cruel Beauty.
Yeah, where it's like, I don't know what the fuck is going on at this point. I'm here for it, but also very confused.
And the ending is they lived happily ever after, because that is exactly what they say.
Yep, yeah.
I guess we'll live happily ever after.
Yeah. And it's funny, too, because it kind of like pans out almost at the end, and it's like Howl and Sophie are just like looking happily at each other, and we're meant to assume that means that they're in love and that's their happily ever after. But it's like, I would riot if I read any romantasy that's been published recently and that's the ending, is they just look at each other. You got me fucked up.
There's no way.
Oh, yeah. It's hard, though, because I enjoyed it. That's the weird thing.
Yeah, as we're going through this, when I was reading this last week, I enjoyed it. Like, I could put it down, but I did want to know what happened next. And the reading style is it's easy without being childish.
Yeah. I mean, the audiobook, too, because I feel like the audiobook kind of like bridges the gap between reading the book and watching the movie, because it kind of like joins the two almost. But it's very like approachable. It's easy to have on in the background, and like there's important details, but you can kind of like skim past some of them. But it's also just like fun, like nice, easy going, like not dramatic, over the top, but it's like cutesy. I need to find something else to listen to, though, that has equal fun merit, because it was nice.
I don't think I could ever listen to a true romantasy or like a romance audiobook.
No. I've listened to a couple like romance books. Hockey Smut comes to mind, and the sex scenes are so uncomfortable to listen to in an audio format. Let me tell you. But I feel like there's something a little bit like missing from like some of the actual romantic dialogue when you get it in audio format that I think you pick up more in the like book format. But that might be a controversial opinion. But
no, I would agree, because I think you get a lot of the internal monologue, and you get to visualize yourself. It's kind of, I think you visualize differently when you're reading versus listening.
No, 100%. And that's why I'm glad that this was in like third person, because like when you listen to it, it seems like it's two people, but if you're reading it, it feels like you and the other person. So it's a little bit more like immersive, I feel like, when you are actually reading. I will say, though, I thoroughly enjoy when it's dual POV and you have like a man reading the like male POV. Girl, sign me up. I love those.
I might need to try.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Do it. Except when the guy tries to like imitate the girl's voice, that kind of sends me into the roof. But yeah, everything else is fine except that part. We did it. Howl's Moving Castle. That was episode 99. How fucking crazy.
How did we get here?
I don't know. The readers. You guys made it worth it. Yeah. Just sticking with us through 99 episodes of absolute nonsense.
You know, we do read and we record these episodes because we enjoy it. It keeps ourselves like, we need like a productivity, creativity outlet.
Yeah.
Just as a sanity thing. But I don't know if I would have the motivation to keep doing this with the consistency that we've done it without like proof that someone is out there listening to it.
Yeah, we have members of our group, our little like book club.
So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are basically the reason that we still
we're still going.
Eat cheese and talk about books. So oh gosh.
Well, we'll have one more episode.
Yes.
Come back next week. We're going to go over all of the books that we read this year, kind of talk about our favorites and least favorites. We'll do our, like, it's going to be an annual thing now, reading off the episode titles.
Oh, God. There is some really bad ones this season. I'm so scared.
And we have some exciting announcements.
Yes. Yeah. For a closeout episode. So I'm glad you made it to the end of this episode, because this is a little tidbit about next episode. We got some fun announcements.
From our stuff to yours.
We'll see you on the next page. Hi, readers. If you'd like to help us pick our next book, send us a message on Instagram.
Or if you'd like to just listen, we post new episodes every Monday and Wednesday on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. Thanks for listening.
Bussin'.